What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? Another edition of the Robin Lundberg Show. Really, here to chop it up today. We'll get to that in just a second. But first, wanted to do a proper intro and shout out my sponsor, my unofficial sponsor, Polar Seltzer and Black Iced Coffee. This is from, what is this? Mr. Coffee Iced, whatever it is that I make in the machine upstairs. If you want to know what powers Robin Lundberg, it is these two things: seltzer water and black plain iced coffee. But regardless, not tons of news to get to today per se, but we do have some news to present to you. So, I could wait until later in the show, but I figured might as well have my guest join me for the entirety of the program because, as is usually the case, you guys have gotten used to this by now, I have to run to something else as soon as I'm done here. I am in charge of all three children today and all of their events. So without further ado, you guys might recognize Roselina Lee here. Roselina, what's going on?
Hi, everybody.
And
hey, Robin.
Roselina is here not just to be a guest on the show today, which she would always be welcome. And she has been oft requested amongst the Fever faithful out there, but also have a little bit of an announcement because, as you guys know, Women's Fast Break on SI has been up and running for a while now, covering all women's basketball. And last week, I launched, in partnership with Sports Illustrated on SI, Indiana Fever on SI. And the newest contributor, the newest member of the staff is Miss Roselina Lee. So, Roselina, let people know what you're doing, how you're feeling, what's going on.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, especially to write about the Indiana Fever. But honestly, I love all of the WNBA. So I can talk WNBA all day, all night, even NCAA.
We'll do some of that coming up here in a second. But in the chat, if you have suggestions, especially right now where we got like a month out, content suggestions, feed them in. We'll take them into consideration. But her first piece is up on Indiana Fever on SI related to Aaliyah Boston's workout video. Obviously, there will be more stuff to come. That site is Fever specific, so it will be very obviously aimed at the Fever faithful out there. And Women's Fast Break on SI continuing to cover all of women's basketball. I'm not going to personally run Toronto Tempo on SI, Eric, but maybe someone
Make sure you can feel the rib.
Perhaps someone will. All right. So while we get the feedback and everything on that, figured to go through some of the stuff that I had prepped here. And since you said you could talk all WNBA, did you see Kiki Rice's dream starting five?
I did.
All right. So
it was actually pretty good.
Let's show the people.
I was thinking about who I'd say, and she'd name the players I was thinking.
Let's show the people who she named, and then we can go over it, give our feedback and suggestions. Otherwise, did I change the window? Sometimes I do this when I'm in the midst of getting ready. I'm looking at something else, and I neglect the post that I actually had prepped for the show. But luckily, with just a quick search of her name, I was able to find it again. Here we go. This is Kiki Rice, thanks to Ken Swift, who does an impeccable job clipping things on the internet, on with Nightcap, which is Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah. And speaking of the WNBA, if you could build your starting five, any current NBA or WNBA players, who are you picking? I'd more say WNBA. Who would your starting five be?
Let's see. All right. I have Asia Wilson.
At the five.
At the five. Caitlin Clark, 1.
Ooh.
I'm putting Stewie at the 4.
Yeah, like, ooh, you got a roster so far.
Yeah. Putting Nafisa at the 3.
Ooh. 2 defense. Oh, you got some defense on that front line.
Oh, we're locking up. And then at the 2, shoot. I'm going Chelsea Gray.
Okay.
So she's not far off, Roselina, when it comes to naming the best players in the league. But one of the things that comes up in a discussion like that is, would that actually be your best 5?
I mean, honestly, Asia at the 5, yes. Nafisa was like my second, like she has to be on there. I mean, I think everybody knows I'm a huge Nafisa fan. And Stewie is awesome. Like she constantly impresses me. I'm curious to see how she's going to do next season, if I'm being completely honest. She might have hit the pinnacle of her career.
Uh-oh, you motivated her just
Don't
now.
make me. Don't make me. I don't know. I'm just saying, speculating here. But and she is coming back from surgery, but we have to wait to see how that shakes out. But I love Chelsea Gray, and she did so great, especially at the end of Unrivaled. Like, actually mind-blowing. Like, she had me tweeting constantly about her, like live tweeting. But at the 2, I think I'd go for maybe more of like a perimeter scorer or something, or some sort of shooting guard.
Yeah, so see, I could almost change the lineup, not making it the 5 best players, for instance, right? Like, so I could make an easy argument for Jonquel Jones, because she sets screens and she can shoot the 3. So those 2 things, if you have Caitlin Clark running the show, that's the synergy there is great. And then you keep Fee at the 4. And speaking of the Liberty, I might take Leonie Fiebich.
Actually, that's so true. She's so good. I feel like she's the most underrated, but also recognized by like the people that really know what they're looking at, because this was her rookie season, and oh my God.
Yeah, and she's like the perfect support player, because she doesn't need the ball. She's long defensively, and she can shoot the hell out the rock. So, if it comes down to, are you choosing the best player at every position, so you have the most star-studded lineup, or are you trying to construct the best team? Because, I mean, you could then go like, all right, do you want to run it with Kelsey Mitchell? She's already got the camaraderie with Caitlin Clark. Or are you a little small in the backcourt defensively that way? Do you want a 2-guard who's more of a catch-and-shoot player with a little bit more size? But, again, I think Fiebich fits in every situation. Jones is very malleable as well. So these are the kind of conversations I think you have to have when you're seriously treating, an ideal dream type of starting 5.
Okay, actually, this is mine. It is Asia. It is JJ, because she was, I was thinking about her. I'm like, how can I fit JJ into this? And I'd replace Stewie with JJ just because of the size, and she can shoot at the outside of the perimeter. And then I would go Nafisa.
You're a very big team now.
Yeah, but for shooting guard, I might go Kelsey Mitchell. And that's not just because I like the Fever. Maybe Sabrina, and of course Caitlin.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Caitlin is, I always come back to it, but she's kind of the best point guard who ever lived. So it's tough to argue against that. But yeah, those type of discussions are always fun. Then there's the Final Four coming up, and we got UConn and UCLA. I just saw UCLA. Somebody said they had the underdog mentality coming into this.
Yeah.
But they're 8.5-point dogs. They should. I think it's one of the times it's actually fair for somebody to have the underdog mentality, the nobody believed in us mentality.
Wait, that they're the underdogs?
Yeah, they're 8.5-point dogs to UConn.
I mean, I think they're the underdogs too. And
I mean, they it's not a think. They literally are.
Yeah, I mean, but aren't they? They're seated higher than UConn. But I mean, this is my take. I don't really see anybody beating UConn, but I feel like UCLA, UCLA is Lauren Betts, and Lauren Betts is so good that she brings her whole team up like that, and.
She's a difference maker because there's nobody else like her. The thing with Lauren Betts that she needs to get better at, when she doesn't have an immediate seal and go up, she struggles a little bit putting the ball on the floor, trying to make actual like basketball moves. And that's she gets stripped in the like in that regard. But she's the only player like that who is able to physically dominate and draw that much attention. And so I'm interested to see how UConn approaches that. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of Alfie in that game, because you don't want Sarah Strong to be in foul trouble. If you're putting her on her early, and I love Sarah Strong. I think she's the difference. As great as Paige Beckers has played, the reason Paige is able to be in this position is because, and I don't say this as a diss at Paige at all, she's been unbelievable, but because she has Strong as a running mate, that's to me what elevates UConn to that next level. And, I don't think you can put Strong on Betts early, because if she racks up a couple fouls early, then you're in trouble. So I think Alfie might be the move there.
That's actually true. They're probably going to do a lot of those rotations. But I mean, Sarah's Strong. I think that right now Paige is on fire. Like, it's crazy. It's like she's a totally different player than she was like 2 months ago. But Paige can get them the points, which Sarah can also get them the points, Sarah Strong. But Sarah can pass to everybody too. Like in the last game where with Caitlin Chen, she had a really hot game. I think it was Strong getting her the ball a bunch of times. She did some stuff in transition too, though. But I mean, I agree with you. Like, I didn't think about it that way, about not wanting to get Sarah Strong into foul trouble. But I think Paige is going to be just, if that basket's going to be huge for her. It's been huge for her.
Oh no, she's been playing great. There's no question about that. In case you missed the announcement at the top of the show, Roselina Lee has joined Indiana Fever on SI, Women's Fast Break on SI. So you'll be getting a bunch more of her content in regards to that. Super excited to see what she brings to the table and how we go from here. Her first piece is up today. The link is in the description. You can check that out. But obviously a lot more to come with the Fever season around the corner. Can you believe we made it? Like, can you believe we almost made it? We still got a little bit of time, but what a long ass off season.
Yeah, I have actually never experienced something like this. Like, it felt like so long away, and now I don't know. There's just been so much to talk about. It kind of has flown by, but it's also been the longest 8 months.
Well, it's sort of counterintuitive, because it's actually, the more that's going on, the easier it is, right? Versus when you're in a little peek behind the scenes in the content creation business, because you wind up doing more when there's less going on, because you're trying to find the right things and
Hustle.
keep people occupied, versus once things happen, it's like obvious. It's like, all right, less work for more results.
I mean, I can just imagine, like, there's going to be too much to talk about, actually.
We're going to get into the chat here in just a second. Please like and subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. Roselina, what's your channel's name specifically?
It's Roselina Lee, and I just called it from the logo. When I started my channel, I just did that on a whim, and it just kind of stuck.
There you go. So make sure you check out her channel, subscribe to that as well. Check out Indiana Fever on SI, Women's Fast Break on SI. We will get to the comments section now, starting with member chats and super chats. Kevin Zwicker, welcome to the team, Roselina. Kevin is an official producer on this show, so he's been with me since Kevin used to take his headphones and listen to me in school while I was on the radio at 4:00 in the morning. So he's a diehard.
I don't recognize that name, actually. I don't know how.
Maybe he's been in your chats. I don't know. Maybe you've watched. I don't know. I don't know if you've watched or not.
Possibly.
That's
maybe Twitter. I don't know. Maybe it might be my channel, though. I feel like it's my channel. I don't know.
Well, let's plug your channel again, Kevin. It was Kevin on your channel. He'll say it was your channel, whether it's true or not. Let's go to Stern12, aka Chris. Wright Thompson on CC was a good interview. That's not new though. That was a previous interview, right? I'm thinking he's referencing here.
Sorry, what?
Wright Thompson on CC was a good interview. He said that's an older interview though, right? I think that was from when she was talking about like being uncomfortable after the Angel Reese thing and all that. I'm pretty sure that was in 2024. Wright Thompson, March 20th, 2024. Yeah, that was I think the article is referencing. Jeffrey Idea with the super sticker. Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate that. Ernesto, what's good? Ernesto just joined via membership there in YouTube. So member chats, super chats, they go first. There was a couple chats I saw beyond that I wanted to emphasize really quickly, because one was just apropos to the day, and the other I thought could spur a little bit of a conversation. Dilbert says she has her own byline on SI. So yes, on SI, Roselina Lee does indeed have her own byline. That's got to be cool though. Like I mean, I've done it, but I'm not trying to humble brag, but I know when those things happen for me, you know, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super cool. I come from a post world, and I've always written, but like I never had a byline.
There you go. And Dilbert also says Paige is better than Cece. There's the so
okay. Hey, that's fair.
No, but you know what's going to be? I can already see it happening because I know how this business works. If UConn wins the championship,
oh my God!
The first thing from a lot of folks is going to be, she's got a title and Caitlin doesn't have a title. Now, any reasonable person might apply context, I'm not rooting against Paige Beckers in order to prop up Caitlin Clark. It doesn't really matter to me. In fact, I think it's a nice story if Paige completes the championship, but I know for a fact it is coming if she does indeed win the championship.
Oh yeah. And that's going to be one of the number one questions any reporter is going to ask anybody of notoriety in the basketball world.
I just think about Paige is like, she's so solid in every aspect, but she's just not as explosive as Caitlin to me. Like, that's the difference with, first of all, Caitlin, they both have good vision because Paige has really good vision and she sets the team up and she's super patient. She always plays within her own pace. But Caitlin makes these passes that have me just like pop out of my seat. And she also just has a certain level of, you know what's the most underrated thing about her at this point, I think, is her athleticism. She's like a bit of a freak athlete, and maybe that's Caitlin. That's like the inverse of the white girl thing, where because she's a white girl, it's not applied quite that way, where she's always moving, she's super strong, she makes moves with the basketball that you don't see other people make. I think that's one of the things that gravitated a lot of dudes to her game, to be honest. And I just see a difference in explosiveness between Caitlin and Paige.
I mean, I think what gravitated a lot of dudes to her is the fact that she's like tossing up almost half-court three-point shots. And then everything else kind of started being exposed, like her insane Tom Brady style, like half-court passes and assists. And the assists she makes are not like assists that anyone else does. Those needles that she threads, like in the All-Star game when Jonquel Jones like was so shocked and just like turned around in like disbelief. Like Paige does not do that stuff, but Paige is so efficient. And I mean, I do watch Paige and I'm blown away by Paige, but I'm not like falling out of my chair like I do for Caitlin Clark.
And that's, well, look, I've never described my favorite player or the best player as efficient. Efficient is good.
Right.
It's certainly a positive trait. It's certainly, but I've never seen somebody like Michael Jordan is the GOAT because he's efficient. Like that's not where people come from. In fact, Kobe Bryant was like inefficient in many ways and is celebrated for killer instinct, right?
It's her style. It's her flair. Like 1000%.
Yeah, no. And you're right. Like, I think the logo threes originally popped, but to me, the most impressive thing about her is the court vision.
Yes.
Because it puts her in completely rarefied air as far as that category goes. Super chats, member chats go first. Like I said, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the sites, Women's Fastbreak on SI, Indiana Fever on SI, links in the description. Roselina Lee, the newest member of the team, and I thought it was appropriate to have her on the show because I'm sure many of you here in the audience are familiar with her work as well, which is far more polished and produced than mine. That's the first thing I noticed when, to be honest with you, Roselina had reached out to me a couple weeks ago. This is unrelated to the site, but something about something that was said. I can't remember what it was.
You were on a live, and Mark brought up something I said, but then he formed it in a way that I did not intend. And because I respect you, I wanted to reach out and be like, hey, this is actually what the intent was. I don't even remember what it was, but I was like, I didn't phrase it the way that it was, maybe being phrased, but sometimes that just those wires get crossed, and I just wanted to clear up like what I had said.
And when you did that, I went and I'd heard, and I'd like been aware, but I hadn't dove into that's when I went over to your channel, and I was like, oh, all right, she's editing her videos, which is different than a lot of these. And I know that from the work I've done in the past, that I could immediately tell, oh, her videos are actually like edited. She's working on them. And two, you were reasonable and rational, and we're just like flying off the handle about every aggrieved, like every day something's aggrieved.
Yeah. That doesn't really help.
But it's a cottage industry right now, like something aggrieved about every day.
I know. It's really hard to stay. It's really hard to stay so unbiased with how much that when you like if I like Caitlin Clark, that doesn't mean I don't like the rest of the WNBA, but because a lot of my content is about her, I get put into a certain category. Like I don't know anything, but I don't know.
Well, that's what happens with it's the Caitlin Clark thing is the most unique thing I've literally ever seen, because there's for several reasons. One, the popularity and just the level of interest, where there can be, like myself, like yourself, channels that pop up and garner all this interest and this engagement. And I've seen a lot. I've been doing this 20 plus years, but also the other narratives that have come in. I've never had race brought up in basketball discussions like this before. I've never had my credibility questioned as if somebody called me, who's that Taylor girl on a wannabe YouTuber? I worked for ESPN for 10 plus years. I worked for Sports Illustrated for 7 years. I work for Sirius XM still now. I've been on CNN. I've been on Fox.
It's not crazy.
But I'm a wannabe YouTuber because I talked about Caitlin Clark.
I always try to think about the foundation of where this all comes from, and then I get all Nietzsche and philosophical, but it is bananas. You're right.
And then all the people who get mad, that new fans showed up. Yeah, they did. There weren't that many. The WNBA was. I've been in sports media for a long ass time. The WNBA was never on the rundown. You can blame whoever you want to blame, but you can yell and scream about it, but it's just the truth.
I know. Sometimes I wonder if anybody ever thinks about the alternative to what they're saying when they're complaining.
Oh, no, never. The solution is never there. It's Brandon Sleep says, damn, I'm late. Roselina, I'm a huge fan of your content. Did you guys already make your Final Four predictions? I mean, I've said UConn over South Carolina from the beginning. South Carolina's looked a little shaky in their last game, but I'm not going to change it up now that they're both in the Final Four.
I mean, I don't see anybody beating UConn. The last South Carolina game was kind of messy. That doesn't mean that I don't think that they can step it up, because I feel like they've been a little out of character. So if they can, get it back together, I can see them winning this. I can't see anybody blowing anybody out, but I predict it's going to be UConn.
Yeah, I mean, look, it feels like UConn, but that's the beauty of sports. That doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen that way.
I know. That is so true. I don't know if anybody followed Unrivaled. I know it's not the most popular league to have followed. It was super fascinating for me just to see the development and how people play in different styles. But the Lunar Owls not winning that, I would have bet the down payment to my home on the fact that they would win.
You were that confident?
1,010%.
You are probably one of the more avid Unrivaled followers out there.
I understand. I understand why people weren't watching it. It isn't like for the casual fan who wants like explode, because there was the bricking, like it was bad at times. It was really bad, but it popped off a lot, and it was really fun. And I think that, if they make some tweaks, it could be better.
Well, my thing with it is, and Mike, thanks for showing love. My thing with it is, I just don't understand rooting against it. You don't have to watch it. I don't care if you watch. Like, I can understand where it might not have been your thing. It was just the campaign to like shit on it and root against it. Yeah. I didn't understand because look, Caitlin Clark's popular as shit. She's super popular. We all get it. No one understands more than me how popular Caitlin Clark is, but I don't need to prove
I understand.
Yeah. Like, I don't need to like continue to prove it. Like, and I don't think it behooves Caitlin Clark for people to be like trying to crap on everything that has nothing to do with her or prove that she's the linchpin behind it. If anybody doesn't realize that Caitlin Clark is the explosive change agent event for what's happening or what has happened, they're a dumbass or they're willfully obtuse. Like it's either you're completely idiotic or you don't want it to be true, so you're convincing yourself of something else. But I don't need to continue to prove it to you over and over again. It's readily apparent, and it's good for everybody if Unrivaled is a success. And I think it's good for Caitlin's legacy ultimately if women's basketball as a whole continues to grow from this point forward, where it's not all viewed through the prism of Caitlin Clark. And the flip side of the Clark fans who do it, the people who claim the opposite do it all the time. They can't write an article about Paige Beckers or Juju Watkins or whomever without using Caitlin Clark as a tariff for the headline, or as through the prism of the headline, because that's the indicator that they actually know that Caitlin Clark is the real driver, even when they're making the opposite point.
Yeah, I mean, I find that about Angel Reese too. Like, I mean, and I do talk about Angel Reese sometimes. I was super impressed with her production and how she got better. Just even after Lisa Leslie had announced she was working with her, I saw the difference. And over 4 games, it was like a big difference in her layup form. But if I talked about her being mostly an Indiana Fever and a Caitlin Clark channel, like I got a lot of like clickbaity comments that I was like using her to prop me up, and no, that's like not the case at all.
Well, I mean, we have breaking news. Apparently, Flau'jae Johnson returning to LSU.
Oh, really? Because everybody was going into the portal, I was wondering if that meant that Flau'jae was going to declare.
I'm trying to see where he said it from. Shouts to Grant Young, who's also on the staff, just texted me. I don't know where you saw it, but
is she staying at LSU?
He said Flau'jae coming back, so that I'm assuming that's what that has to mean. I don't know where. We'll figure that out as we go here. Brandon Sleep says, I think UCLA is going to pull it off. Well, look, if there's somebody's going to beat them,
if they could, that would be cool. I mean, I'm not going to like pretend that I don't think that they're not.
Did she announce it? And to your point about Angel, the exact same thing happens to me. People accuse me of like trying to profit off and then I have to explain, like, to be honest, I cover the Angel Reese stuff when I think it's relevant to what I'm doing and what I think it's an interesting topic. Have I been perfect about it? Probably not, because I'm not perfect about anything, but it's not, she's not the driver of my traffic. So it's, in fact, I could make a video about Caitlin Clark doing anything and it's pretty much going to drive traffic. But Angel, and she does stir up conversation and engagement, and she is a big star. And maybe because when I'm covering her, it's, one of the criticisms was there's like, even in a compliment, there's a criticism or something. And I get it to a certain extent, but they're like, why aren't you talking about Caitlin's weaknesses? I was like, well, Caitlin's not playing basketball. Like this was happening during Unrivaled.
No, that a lot too. I'm like, I wish I could talk about Caitlin more and her basketball, but it's all we get are these like Indiana Fever workouts every once in a while, and then sometimes she's just in the background.
Yeah.
So wait, what's the deal? I'm trying to like look and see what the
I'm
deal
trying
is
to do it
with
too.
Flau'jae.
Apparently it's from Sabrina Merchant.
Eric, breaking news: Flau'jae isn't doing anything. Funny guy. Okay.
Yeah. Bleacher Report posted it on their women's sports Instagram account, but I'm looking for the original source right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, with all the people that are declaring, going into the transfer portal from LSU, I thought that meant that she had like kind of let the cat out of the bag that she might be declaring for the WNBA.
Yeah, but you know, it doesn't behoove anybody really to declare for the WNBA right now, unless they, you know, I mean, it makes sense with Paige because she's been there so long and whatever, even if she has an extra year of eligibility. But because of the CBA, more than anything, you know, you get locked into that rookie scale deal and you're stuck in it.
That matters for Flau'jae. She makes like 1.5 million in brand money.
Sure, but if she can get 3 times what her rookie contract is by waiting 1 more year, she could do that and still get the brand money. Like, because she's not lacking for NIL deals, and she's got the Unrivaled deal, right?
Yeah, to me, I would be thinking, where do I want to be? And she could possibly go what 2 if Seattle doesn't take Dominique Malonga. But I know that she wants to end up in or her mom wants her to end up in LA. Like she said, her mom said she wants her to end up in Atlanta or LA. And LA for her would be awesome because she does music. It's a very big market. But yeah, I don't know. I would think about like those types of things too, because yes, making 3 times as much as the rookie scale contract now would be a plus, but like for her, it would be better if she could end up where she wants in a big market and you know, take that hit possibly, because she's going to be making all that in brand endorsements anyway, I think.
But you saw all these teams. I don't think it's a coincidence they traded out of their draft positions also, you know, because they kind of probably knew this. And Flau'jae's not, you know, she's a terrific player and obviously like a bit of a superstar relative to a lot of the other players. But she's 5'10". I don't think she's like a surefire, you know, fulcrum of the there's a vocab word of the of the team necessarily.
Yeah, but she kind of, all right, she's not as good as Paige, I would say, but she does have that like brand marketing thing that Paige kind of has too. And she is really good. But yeah, I mean, she might not go 2, but I could maybe see her going 2 potentially. Like I wouldn't say it was out of the question that she goes 2. But, you know, Dominique Malonga, obviously the ceiling is like sky high for her. So if I was Seattle, I'd go her. But I don't know, for someone like Flau'jae, someone that makes that much money, I don't think that, you know, $150 or whatever $1,000 a year is gonna be a difference maker.
Yeah. Hold on. So apparently it was posted on Blue Sky. That's why no one can find it.
Should I join Blue Sky?
I'm on there, but
I didn't even start posting on Twitter until mid-February. But it's important. Anybody have any news on Flau'jae?
No, it's Ben Pickman, who I know from working at SI, from Blue Sky, A source with knowledge of the situation confirmed to The Athletic's Sabrina Merchant that Flau'jae Johnson did not declare for the 2025 WNBA draft. So that article is currently being written right now. We got new member Will. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of the great feedback in here today. Roselina is the newest member of the team. She will be writing for both Indiana Fever on SI and Women's Fastbreak on SI, but obviously with the Fever site being new, looking to lean into that. So any suggestions you guys have or you want to see, you guys are the audience for these things. So let us know. You can always help produce and brainstorm. That always is helpful. You guys have helped me out. Kelsey, the bailout queen, says Leone is top 10 and most versatile in my book. I agree with that. I'm a big fan of Leone Fibich. I said that before. I might put her into the all starting five. Ernesto, Robin, and welcome Roselina to the show. Basil, one of my number one trolls, agrees with me, so I'm going to put it on the screen. Betts has some happy feet, kind of like Boston. Let's talk about Aaliyah for a second. This is a good segue because you wrote the piece today, link in the description, about Aaliyah Boston's workout video. And Aaliyah, I don't think it's unfair to say, did not come into camp or come into last season in the best shape. She did not start the season at the best, but then she improved as the season went along. I love her spirit and personality. She seems like a great young woman. She's also very smart player. You can see it. You can hear it, when she talks and does analysis. But, generally, I think the best passers are often very intelligent players. There seems to be a correlation in that regard. And Aaliyah Boston is a very good passer. She doesn't hunt for her shots. She's unselfish. She plays defense. But one of the things, I think the Fever need to get out in transition. She's going to have to be good there. She has to finish her layups. Sometimes she misses bunnies. And
I think she needs to work on those. She doesn't have a really good hop.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just a natural, athletic issue. She's not that explosive.
I don't know whether that's leg workouts or what, but I was watching her and I'm almost embarrassed to keep bringing up Unrivaled, but that's what I was
should not be embarrassed. There's nothing wrong with watching Unrivaled.
I was watching Unrivaled for this player development, how what they're able to do outside of what we see, and jumping is jumping, and I just remember thinking why isn't she jumping? Why? And I noticed this last season too, and she doesn't really she just kind of puts her arm up. She doesn't ferociously go for the ball, but what she doesn't do there, she does make up for in her court IQ and her really elite passing for us forward center, whatever you want to call her,
Yeah, no, and she's a pretty good defender. I think she could stand. You wrote about this in the piece, but fine tune that 3-point shot. Remember the play everybody crushed Christy Sides about when Aaliyah got the open look from 3. Yeah. Here's a question for you: who would you take, Aaliyah Boston or Angel Reese?
It depends on who's around.
Mm-hmm. But just in a vacuum, you're starting a team from scratch. Who are you taking?
Oh man, no, this is hard. Come on, because there are some things that Angel Reese is.
I'm taking Angel. I think Angel's better.
Okay, I can't say that. I really can't. Because when you think about court IQ and court vision, it's definitely Aaliyah.
Angel's a really good passer, though, too. Angel's a really good passer.
She's a fine passer. I don't think she's a really good passer.
I think she's a pretty damn good passer. And her what she does best is better than anything Aaliyah does best.
Okay, that's true. Because she's elite at, at rebounds. She really is. And I'm sorry, even if she's getting her own rebounds, someone has to get them. And she scores a lot. So that says something. She had to adjust to the WNBA too, but yeah, I think it just depends. The way the chemistry that Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston have, and it did, whether she was totally out of shape when she first started last season or not, or it was like taking time to like develop that chemistry. Like she has that chemistry now with Caitlin Clark, and they showed it off in the All-Star game.
Although Aaliyah is the definition of like solid. She's very good at everything, and she's I'm not saying she sucks.
Oh no, I don't think you are saying that. But I just think that there's some things that like Angel Reese just needs to really get better at.
Well, no question. But but if she does, I think her ceiling is higher, I guess is what I would say in that regard.
Okay, I could see how her ceiling could be higher. But the court IQ thing, that still has me a little
I think they both have good
hesitant to just straight up say Angel or anything.
Aaliyah has excellent she's unselfish, and she has very, very high basketball awareness and IQ. There's no question. Charlie Miras with a shout out to Roselina. Tracy Hartman says Paige is good, but reality is more something is more appropriate to her when she's in the W. Let me see.
Oh man, I don't know. I think Paige is gonna do pretty well. I do.
I think she'll do pretty well also, but the same thing that Gino said about Caitlin, I think applies more to Paige than it does to Caitlin. The physical, that aspect of it, because Paige is not huge and strong, and she does use a lot of screens.
She's lanky
to get open. So I don't think she's not going to succeed. I do, but we also got to remember, and a lot of this is new to many people. It's not like it was a well-documented thing. It was well-documented, but it wasn't well known because so many new fans did come in. But guards historically have really struggled to it. Like what Caitlin Clark did in her rookie season was so far out of the norm that I still don't think it's properly appreciated in some senses.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Paige is going. All right, this is kind of like a hot take, but I think that she might get an easier time in entering the WNBA than maybe like Caitlin Clark did, possibly. I don't subscribe.
Well, she's not going to be. She's not going to have the entire team guarding her.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to the narrative that all of the WNBA hates Caitlin Clark. I think that Caitlin Clark had so much hype behind her that like there definitely was like a chip on a lot of shoulders to be like, no, I can stop this rookie. I can stop this rookie. And I think they really did start taking her seriously and appreciating her game around the All-Star break. But, nobody wanted to be like shut down by Caitlin Clark, especially with all the hype behind her and stuff. And I think that the narrative around Paige is a little softer and more acceptable to a lot of people, let's just say in a certain category in the WNBA.
And she's not as popular. I mean, like she's very Paige is as popular as anyone not named Caitlin Clark. Like she's on that, like when you have the Caitlin Clark tier, and because when you talk about Caitlin Clark's popularity, that doesn't mean other people aren't popular. And I would say Paige is right. And I say this having the data to back it up. I see what clicks, what traffics, whatever, and Paige is very popular. But she's not once in a lifetime phenomenon, transcendent popular. And I really think you just said it. That was the root of the backlash for Caitlin Clark, is how popular she was. And for some, it got framed as like everybody else is trash, which of course would make people feel a certain way. For others, it was just they're always being asked about, whatever the case was. I think like stuff like the race thing is an excuse for the popularity because people couldn't come to grips with the popularity, and nobody knew how to handle that, or a lot of people didn't know how to handle that, and they thought it might be Tim Tebow when instead it was Michael Jordan.
I mean, I think that like she entered the league and turned the league like upside down, and not a lot of people were prepared to like completely shift everything they had been in and built or whatever that quick. But at the same time, you have to think like, do you want to be a professional athlete? Like this is what a professional like league looks like that's successful. You do have to like shift and adjust things here and there. And I just think that a lot of people were not ready for that and did not like the adjustments, that had to be made, and the acceptance that there is a new face in the league. I'm so sorry.
Oh, there's Face of Basketball. I mean, like you don't have to like couch it. It's just I'm not, you don't have to be afraid to tell the truth, or you shouldn't. Brandon Sleep, Aaliyah, elite IQ. She has great point center skills. Agree with that. Brenda Milton, love the Robin Roselina collab. Two of my faves for sure.
Thanks,
yeah, we got almost like we're creeping towards 1,000 concurrents in here, which is pretty damn good for the slowest day of the one of the slowest days of the year in some ways.
No, I haven't started doing lives yet. I've only gone on that one other live. I've kind of been hesitant to do a lot of collabs because I just want to like carve my niche and like work on my stuff primarily, and then collaborate with people that I think are cool. I don't know.
So you're saying I'm cool? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, I want to do more collabs. I've just been like, especially lately, I had a whole like YouTube fiasco where I had to take like a week or 2 weeks or something like that, like making no videos almost. And so I couldn't really collaborate with people, but now I'm going to be entering like a different phase. But I think you're cool, Robin. You're like super duper duper cool. You're neato.
Well, I mean, the live thing is just, I have so much talk radio experience and stuff like that. So
I noticed you're really good at it.
It's not like a challenge. I could wake up out of bed and do a 4-hour radio show on basically anything. And that wasn't the most intimidating thing. I talked about Caitlin Clark's live speaking, and thank you, Geronimo, for agreeing with me there. But the live speaking thing, I've done that a lot. But the two most challenging things are stand-up comedy and solo talk radio. Like once you can do those, you can do almost anything else. Like, because in stand-up comedy, it's different than public speaking, where when you do public speaking, it's a bonus when you make people laugh. Stand-up comedy, they're expecting to laugh at everything you say. So that's daunting.
Timing, it's punchlines. It's like what you write. Stand-up comedy is hard. It's hard.
The first time I did some stand-up comedy, but the first solo radio show I did, I remember being like 2 minutes into the show, and I like made my point, and I was done. And I'm like looking at the clock, and I'm like, oh, I got 13 more minutes in this segment, and then 3 more hours. So it's until you realize, and then you start getting nervous, and you get inside your own head, like that little voice is in your head as you're talking to everybody else. So once I got comfortable and mastered that, this, which is just because of my background and my experience. So I can understand why other people, you obviously are very good at the editing and the polish that stood out to me when I watched your videos versus a live where I didn't have a job and I was like, all right, I'm going to do what I know how to do. So I fired up this thing.
I mean, the editing is what I know how to do, so that's why I did it. And I don't know. I just wanted to give it I want to give my like stuff a little bit of like a polish, whereas I know it's not needed. That's just what I like, and
it gives it its own identity. It stood out. For what it's worth, it stood out to me immediately because it was different than some of the other things. Where for me, like if I did that, I know I wouldn't be able to. The time it would take me to do that.
I know.
But that's why
I sacrifice quantity for it. Like I can't do as many videos as Mick.
Well, how many songs are on this album? How many songs are on GNX? 12? The new Kendrick has 12 songs. 444. How many songs are on 444? Kill Jay-Z, Story of OJ. What's the third song? 444, Caught Their Eyes, Bam, Moonlight, Marcy Me, Legacy, like 10, 11 joints. My favorite Blueprint, same thing. My favorite records don't have that many songs on them. So there's certainly an argument for quality over quantity.
Well, I mean, my goal now that I'm like finally carving like a lot of my day out is to do to do a video almost every day, and sometimes 2, maybe even 3. I've done it before, 3 videos and stuff, but yeah.
Justin says, Robin, what's going on with Nike? Why didn't they expedite the signature shoe? I have no idea. I don't have the answer to you. I think, one of the things people do miss in all this is that the agent-client relationship, the agent works for the client. So Caitlin is either signing off on or signing up for everything that she's doing. I mean, I think the speaking engagements are easy work that are probably lucrative and are positioning her for more an executive type of role, a role of authority going forward. As far as Nike, is it possible that they were worried about backlash? Sure. That could be the case. It's possible that it took this long for the signature shoe. I don't know. Regardless, I said at the time when the deal was done that they got a steal in Caitlin Clark. At the same time, no one in women's basketball had ever gotten anything even close to approaching that deal. So you have to think of it in that regard too. We also don't know the fine print. For instance, is she going to get a cut of the sales, all that sort of stuff. But to answer the question everybody asked, no, I have no freaking idea what's going on with Caitlin and Nike.
So has Nike actually announced the shoe, the Pro?
Well, they've announced that a signature shoe is coming. Yes.
No, the Pro, the June Protro. The one that Kickstarter talked about? Yeah, the Kobe 5s.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't
been able to. Not the Kobe 5s. The Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever Protros.
I'm not sure. I've not seen anything officially from Nike. It's all from these like sneaker websites, and then somebody else denies it. So I'm not sure.
You can't fool me again. I'll believe it when Nike says it. But imagine this. Isn't Asia's shoe supposed to come out in June?
Asia's shoe. When is isn't it out? People are.
No,
or it's not for.
I think it's like it was announced. Wait, can you? Isn't it going to be like released like wide or whatever in June or May?
I'm not sure. I thought.
Anyway, well, I thought it was going to be like
yes, public on sale to public May 2025.
Okay, so and if they do the Caitlin Clark shoe right after that, there's so many like Asia Clark things where like Asia's retirement jersey is the same day as Caitlin Clark's jersey, and then there was something else and I can't remember, and I'm like, oh my god, if they're gonna release a Caitlin Clark shoe at the same time as Asia's, it's gonna be so not funny, but I don't know, it's gonna be so something.
Yeah, that was such a weird thing. Asia did handle that. I did not like the way she handled that, if I'm being real about it. Especially since she knew the shoe was coming, she played into it. She definitely played into it.
Oh, that element of it, yeah. I know. Yeah.
But
yeah, she did.
I wish her nothing but the best, anyhow. I mean, the more people that get shoes, the better. I mean, all these things are good. All right, guys. If you got any more chats, get them in right now because I do have to run here in a second. But I wanted to collab with Roselina. I wanted to announce that she is now a part of Indiana Fever on SI, the brand new site. Link in the description. Women's Fastbreak on SI as well. I'm sure that will lead to further collabs, but make sure you check out her work and hit like and subscribe. And I just thought people would enjoy that announcement, and we'll see. We're gonna build from here and take over the world like Pinky in the Brain.
And thanks, everybody.
All right, guys. Until the next one, hit like and subscribe, and yeet.